I've just completed my second half marathon and I improved my time by 30 minutes. I encountered some unexpected challenges whilst doing my training, but I definitely overall improved so many things from the last time I ran, and this is how I improved my time by 30 minutes. So whilst I was training for this half marathon, I actually encountered quite a few issues that were really unexpected. I was starting to experience these sort of like energy drops, where I would be running and then all of a sudden I have no energy. I didn't know if it was energy drops, I just called it energy drops, but I do think it was like sort of like blood pressure drops throughout my training, and I didn't really know what to do, because it would be bad if I would have, say for instance, like water or no water, or if I had food or no food, I was still susceptible to be having these blood pressure drops. And so that was a factor that I had to consider, is that how am I supposed to run my next half marathon whilst experiencing these blood pressure drops? And so not only was my goal to improve my time, but also to see how I could prevent these blood pressure drops whilst running, because the last thing I want to do is obviously run this half marathon and not be able to finish because I've had a blood pressure drop whilst running. It really made my training quite challenging, because it almost made me a bit fearful. I didn't want to do some of the runs, such as like the long runs, just because I was so scared that I would start out, be far away from home, and then have one of these blood pressure drops. I think I worked out a way though to sort of combat these blood pressure drops, and so I'm not only going to be discussing the strategies that I use to improve my time by 30 minutes, but I'm also going to discuss the ways that I tried to help these blood pressure drops. To just give you a bit of context, a few months ago, my friend had sent us the suggestion of doing the Knysna Half Marathon. Before we even realized it, we'd said yes and were planning to run this half marathon. Once we had signed up, it then became official that I had 14 weeks to train properly. My last half marathon, being my first, was fairly difficult. It was a road run with a lot of hills and elevation, and my finish time was about 3 hours. For this run, I was not only trying to improve my time and combat my blood pressure drops, but I also had to prepare myself for the fact that this half marathon was a trail run in the forest, involving uneven ground, cold temperatures, and an unknown terrain. By the time of the race, we flew down to George, hired a car, and then drove for about an hour until we reached Knysna. I've never actually been to Knysna before, but I was so excited to see a new location because I've heard a lot of amazing reviews about it, and I was so eager to experience it myself. Once we arrived, it's safe to say that the whole town was buzzing. Basically everyone there was either running in the race or supporting someone who was running. We went straight to a restaurant for breakfast and then managed to check into our hotel early, which was a huge benefit. This hotel was conveniently close to the registration point, and so once we put all our bags down, we made our way to collect all of our race details, such as the tracking chip and race number. We've actually managed to check in earlier than expected, 3 hours earlier. Shame the hotel was really nice and allowed us to check in earlier because our flight was so early this morning. And we are going to go now, just take a walk around Knysna, just see what there is. He's got to physically go and register, so we're doing registration now. Yep. Asking them a few questions because we don't actually know the logistics. We end here where we're registering, but as to where we get the bus,
I also want to ask about the water points, see how many there are, so we can plan like our water and stuff like that.
They've even done the registration with these leaves on the floor, trying to make it look like a forest. George and I are doing one last walk for an hour.
Yep.
And that's the plan. And then tomorrow is an early morning start. So yeah, but look at the sunset. It's absolutely amazing. Wow. That's where we're going. We want to go see the sunset properly. I think I'm going to take 4 gels. Just pack those in the bag. I know people say like you shouldn't have a pack because there's water stations on the point, but I'm definitely the kind of person, like I feel like when I need water I really need it, and I don't want to wait 2 kilometers to get to the next station. There is a water point, I believe, at like every 3 kilometers or so, but I'd rather just have my pack with me. I don't even mind carrying the extra weight as long as I just have like everything with me, and so that bag is like my lifeline. Okay, this is just future me interrupting the video And I just wanted to highlight the importance of hydration. I'm so glad I actually took my water pack with me. What I actually did was I didn't stop at any of the water stations. I just carried on and I had my water whenever I needed. And I found that that was actually so key in helping me with improving my time and all of that. But not only just staying hydrated, because I don't want to say take a water pack, that was just something that I personally needed. And the other important thing was staying hydrated with like electrolytes. I think I drank about like 2 liters worth of Energade, and I found that that was so key in improving my time. The hotel was so kind and rescheduled their breakfast time to early in the morning to cater for all of the runners. Having a good breakfast is something that is crucial for your race performance. The hotel provided fruit, toast, baked oats and yogurt as options, and this was actually perfect. Okay, we're literally about to go start now.
Let's go.
Looks super muddy, so let's see how this goes. It is from this point that I just want to give a bit of a disclaimer. I found it difficult to film during the race because I was trying to either dodge people or avoid the mud so that I didn't fall flat on my face. So I'm sorry, some of the footage is quite shaky. This is just one example. My camera was just doing its own thing and it wanted to shoot the clips upside down, but don't worry, the filming gets better from here. You've passed the worst part of it. This was an extremely busy race and there were a lot of people running. And so a lot of the time one can feel quite pressured to run a bit faster because you see so many people run past you. One of the things I implemented for this race was to just not read into any of those pressures and really try to tune into how my body was feeling and not focusing on the people running around me and their paces. We just hit kilometer 8, 57 minutes. So we're doing a bit of walking. Recover a bit on the uphill and then we'll tackle hour 2.
Yep.
It's going quite well.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Better than my first one. We're now sort of in like more of a foresty area. We're definitely
On a trail.
Trying to take it more paced. Going according to like not the time per kilometer, but how you feel. So
Yeah, and
sometimes
also,
speeding up and
you're also making sure that keeping enough energy in the bank because there's an uphill coming.
K13 I think. We're now about 9.5. So that's coming up. At the end of the day, you are the one who has to cross the finish line. No one can do it for you. And so you really need to focus on what your own body is capable of. Two kilometers. Nearly 1K to go. Slowly dying. Every muscle is kind of hurting. After all of my muscles started cramping and packing up, we made it successfully over the finish line, marking this as a definite 30-minute improvement from my last race.
Here we are
Just
at the finish.
smiling.
Caitlin can't move her right calf. She's got a little bit of a cramp. She got like that's around like 2 Ks to go. 2 Ks to, yeah, 2 hours to go. 2 Ks to go. So she's doing well. She's just got to stretch it out a bit. But we've done well. Finished in 2:28, which is literally a solid half hour off Caitlin's time from her first half marathon. Pretty much. I don't know, I might receive some hate for saying this, but I actually think one of the things that helped us so much with our training is walking. And like, I know that sounds counterintuitive because we're supposed to be training for running, but we actually did a few long walks. And now long walks being like 2 hours, something that prepares you for the movement of your body for about 2 hours. That actually helped so much with our runs, and also like almost like an active recovery, but still pushing us. And every day I've had the goal to get about 10,000 steps. So this whole year I've had 10,000 steps every day. And I think that's helped a lot with my training. So we mentioned the walking, and that really helped us. And also I really like walking because it actually like allows us to have sort of, it's almost like a date time, you know, like quality time that we spend together. So we go walking. That's one of her love languages, so she loves that a lot.
Yeah, I like walking. It gives us time to talk and we're exercising at the same time.
But one of the things that we probably should have done a little bit better, and I did it a little bit more, like maybe twice more, was to do some more gym and like muscle work, because we definitely could have added 1 or 2 more like leg workouts in our week, or maybe like over the space of a month do 3 more leg workouts just to build that strength so that race day is much easier. We did a variety of different workouts. I'll show you an insert. I did the London training plan, and there's 3 different ones. One's the beginner, one's intermediate, and one's advanced. And so I started with the intermediate, and now I'm going to move on to the advanced one in preparation for the marathon. And so each run is specific. You have like a long run where you're supposed to go slow. You have fast runs, intermittent running, interval running. And so we used actually that approach instead of just going out for a general run. We decided to actually do and follow a training plan, and that really helped.
In summary, I haven't quite found a solution to the blood pressure drops, but I have found that they're definitely exacerbated by a lack of proper fueling and hydration. And so I emphasized the importance of having enough water as well as electrolytes for the whole run. Throughout my whole training, I prioritized just moving my body every day. So on days where it seemed difficult to run, or perhaps it was just a non-run day, I found that walking helped me a lot. I didn't quite emphasize this next point enough, but it is really crucial to do proper weight training sessions. As I mentioned earlier, this was something that I found difficult to do, but I know that this is definitely something I will focus on a lot for the next race, so that my muscles are strong enough to endure a long race. Following a proper training plan with varied runs was lastly a fun way to train. This plan involved some easy runs and other runs mixed with average to difficult parts of each run. I found that a lot of improvement occurs when you train with a varied plan instead of doing the same level of difficulty for each run. I hope this video was helpful, and I will see you in my next video.